I see my boy Given Share Name is in here like swim gear. Let's get started with full-time MMA in the evening. Might hear some dogs barking because they just started barking. My boy Given Share Name is in here like swim gear. Let's get started with full. Little bit of an echo. I think someone might be at my back door, so might have to answer that soon. We'll see. They stopped barking. With that being said, though, we can jump right into the. I don't even know where to get started today, man. I was just gonna. I guess we can just get straight into the MMA and leave all the. Yeah, let's just leave all the bullshit to the side. Fuck it. Full time, your dong MMA is GOAT, motherfuckers. Israel A in the building. Let's go. All right. So I guess to get it started, we'll get into the MMA news. We might address some of the other stuff, and of course talk about the full-time MMA dojo at the end. Mr. Perfect 2005 says, "Up full-time? Sorry to hear about the trolls, bro." Oh, it's all good. I'm not worried about it. I just, it just kind of surprised me to see. That would be like, seeing Given Sure Name or somebody over like, what the fuck? I thought you was rocking with me from day one. You know what I'm saying? A1 since day one. But it is what it is. It's all good. Still grinding. You know how that goes. With that being said, though, this was interesting. I just saw this today, man. Donald Cerrone has some advice for an arrogant, cocky motherfucker, Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards has been snapping a little bit before this, but looks like Donald Cerrone still got a little bit of bite left himself. He's taking offense to what Leon Edwards is saying. Might have to make sure you set your alarm clock if you're in America. It's going to be an early morning card. Everyone else, it should be an evening card for you guys. So you'll get to see Donald Cerrone possibly upset Leon Edwards, the veteran Donald Cerrone. He's coming in as an underdog. He's almost a 2-1 underdog. A lot of people picking Leon Edwards to win this fight, and I kind of can't blame him. He's did some work at welterweight. Now, he ain't did Donald Cerrone work, even though Donald Cerrone's kind of got worked at welterweight. He's still been fighting the best fighters in the world. Meanwhile, Leon Edwards, he's been fighting some tough fighters. Vicente Luque, Bilal Muhammad, most recently Peter Sabaton. He's been fighting some tough welterweights. But he ain't fought no Robbie Lawler. He ain't fought no Jorge Masvidal. You know what I'm saying? No Darren Till, Donald Cerrone. So hold your horses, young man. Donald Cerrone, he's responding today, and he's snapping. Donald Cerrone said he's real arrogant. He's a real arrogant, cocky motherfucker, to be honest with you. So I don't know. We'll see, but I'm not too impressed with him at all. We were out doing a media tour, and he was just really vocal and angry the whole time. Just wanted to be mad and had nothing but just rude-ass comments to say. I was like, damn, man, I'm a fucking veteran in this sport. You're talking about you're just going to steamroll me and I'm old, you're new. It's like, damn, okay, sure, I told him, you're going to have to go home and tell your mama how an old, slow dude beat your ass. That's all right, though. Donald Cerrone's taking it in stride, you know what I'm saying? But definitely taking offense. And Darren Till, if you recall, he was kind of talking a little bit of trash, but his was more not arrogant. I mean, well, some people might take it arrogant, more of a confidence thing, but Donald Cerrone might have felt the same way there. He didn't know Darren Till's name before he fought him. Like, Darren Till, when he heard Darren Till talking confident, I'm sure Donald Cerrone might have felt this way. And you know what they say, man, you ain't got to be scared to get your ass whooped. But with that being said, we got a good fight on our hands. Donald Cerrone, the veteran's looking to definitely show Leon Edwards up after some of the stuff he's been saying leading up to this fight. Donald Cerrone believes he's trying to convince himself, he said. He's saying that I'm trying to become his friend because that way I feel like the beating is just going to be less. I was like, oh my God, you're so weird. No, but to be honest, when Donald Cerrone's trying to become a fighter's friend, he's just a veteran. He's just welcoming that's just him. He's not fucking trying to game you by being your friend. If anything, he's trying to get himself into a hell. We saw Donald Cerrone, he's at his best when he's in there having fun. Matt Brown, the first 2 rounds weren't really looking too amazing for Donald Cerrone. And then once they, shook up in the 3rd round, Matt Brown finally put a smile on. Pow! That was the end of it. Donald Cerrone had gotten his groove. So he's just trying to get himself in the game, having a little bit of fun. That's how I feel. And he said, I tried to explain to him, look, man, the Kobe Covington approach, you look like a fucking asshole. You look like a complete fucking dick. Why would you want that? Why would you want people to think that you're a dick? Be a good guy. Why would you want to be the angry fighter? Like, sure, fighting is what we do in our sport, but dude, we're also cool people. Conor McGregor's a whole different demon. That son of a bitch went in there and did it and backed it all up. That's the whole different animal on its own. But Kobe and others trying to emulate it, I don't know what the hell's going on. That's just a sign of the times. There's there's more fighters coming up like that a little bit, you know. I've seen it in some other fighters, and I don't know why it sticks out. The guy Ricky Simon, he's the flyweight coming up. After his last fight, his post-fight speech really stood out to me, and I felt like, oh shoot, do we got like a Chael Sonnen or a Colby Covington of the flyweight division coming up? We could use one. And I get it though, you know, it's not a good look. You know, fighters like Donald Cerrone aren't going to respect it. They're the veterans of the sport. They're, you know, that's the old school. You know, a lot of fans look at it too, like, man, you're a douchebag for doing that type of stuff. But with Conor McGregor's success, you're going to have people trying to emulate that success. So Donald Cerrone did continue to say, I wouldn't say it starts to piss me off. It's just like, when we're not here for the fight week, he just pissed me off, and I tried to tell him, look, man, I tried to be the old fucking guy and tell him, hey, man, there's a new way to do this. Like, why can't you shake my hand? Why can't we go have a beer? Why can't we be cordial and hang out? Why do you want to be in Singapore 2.5 months before our fight on vacation, one of the best places to visit, and be angry? Why do you want to be mad all week, walk around and see me and be pissed off? Veteran approach. Much respect to Donald Cerrone. If you saw my predictions, I think Donald Cerrone is going to actually win the fight. So Leon Edwards, I mean, he better be careful in there. He's definitely got a veteran on his hand who's been fighting the best welterweights in the world. Now, if Leon Edwards can win this, he'll show that he's ready to fight the, you know, at least get a shot at one of the best welterweights in the world if he can beat Donald Cerrone, because that's the only people that have been able to beat Donald Cerrone at welterweight is the elites, literally guys that have been in the top 5 of the welterweight division. So Leon Edwards definitely still has a tough task on his hands, even though he's on a 5-fight winning streak. He's beating some tough guys, so he might feel confident. He might be feeling like Darren Till. Hell, I'm beating dudes up. I feel like I'm the best welterweight in the world. It's my time. I'm about to get through Donald Cerrone, you know, and then move up. So with that being said, it's going to be a good fight this weekend at UFC Singapore. But perfect transition before we get to UFC Singapore. We got PFL 2 tomorrow. And you guys know why I'm excited for PFL 2? That 2 is symbolic to me. Ronda Rousey 2.0, but better than ever. Let's go to PFL 2. We got Kayla Harrison, who's being motivated by all the greats. All the greats. Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's being motivated by all the greats. So when she conquers Chris Cyborg, she will have paid homage. She will have been under the tutelage of the greatest fighters in the world when she prepares to take on Cyborg, as she is the future, some say, Cyborg killer. I don't want to disrespect Chris Cyborg and take it too far. I'm kind of having fun with this, but I am on the Kayla Harrison bandwagon. Let me tell you, she's got she's the two-time Olympic gold medalist. She's coming through. She's, I believe, fighting. She's at judo, or her debut, she's fighting at like lightweight. So women's lightweight isn't even available in the UFC, and that's a difference between her and Ronda Rousey. She's gonna have, you know, everyone always wanted to see Ronda Rousey versus Chris Cyborg. Now hindsight being 2020, might have not been the best idea for Ronda, or I mean, it still would have been a great fight to see, but she probably would have got, you know, beat in the same fashion maybe in the Amanda Nunes fight, or even the Holly Holm fight. Chris Cyborg is a whole nother animal, and so that's a different story. But Ronda Rousey wasn't really a natural 145-pounder, so she kind of would have been out of her weight class anyway, out of her league in that sense. But Kayla Harrison, different story. And Ronda Rousey, I believe she was a silver medalist. Ronda Rousey, I don't even believe won the gold medal. But Kayla Harrison, 2-time gold medalist, and if you listen to her interview, she looked, being under Ronda Rousey, you know, Ronda Rousey was the star in judo. She, you know, was always like, I want to be better than Ronda Rousey. And she's taking that approach to MMA, and from what she's saying, I'm glad I'm on the bandwagon. This is what she had to say. I'm telling you guys, she's fighting in the PFL, but all right, I digress. Here we go. I tend to shine under the lights. I tend to thrive under that pressure. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited to see how I handle this new platform. PFL 2 is tomorrow. PFL 2 is the Professional Fighters League. I believe they're also having that $1 million tournament. Will Brooks is also going to be fighting on that card tomorrow. So it's going to be a good card, you know, actually just to watch. I actually want to watch that whole card. But still, this is one of the main attractions for me. And this is what she was talking about with Ronda Rousey. She said, Ronda is always going to be, I think, the little rabbit in front of me. When I was 16, I moved to Coach Jimmy Pedro. She was the superstar. She was the golden girl. She was the one everyone was watching. Every day I said to myself, I'm going to be here someday. I'm going to be better than her. Anything she can do, I can do better. It helped take me to the highest levels of my sport, and she was able to do that in judo. Ronda Rousey was successful in the Olympics, but Kayla Harrison was a 2-time gold medalist, so arguably more successful. So she looked at Ronda Rousey, anything she can do, I can do better, and she was able to do that. That motivates her. So MMA, Ronda Rousey was able to do MMA. You don't think she looks at that as a challenge? And now, on top of all of that, she's training at American Top Team with Amanda Nunes and Joanna Jacare? The other goats? Are you kidding me? She trained with one of the goats in judo. Ronda Rousey surpassed that. Now she's training with Nunes and Joanna Jacare to get that killer mentality, that championship MMA mindset. Are you kidding me? And she's coming over to pretty much be a 155 or 145 fighter. If the UFC's women's featherweight division is still around, hopefully it should be. With the Ultimate Fighter coming up, we got some new featherweights coming up. Chris Cyborg, the champion. Megan Anderson's here. She did lose her first fight, so I don't know where that's gonna go. But if the UFC if the UFC featherweight division is still here, which there's no reason to believe it's not gonna be, just with this Ultimate Fighter coming up. So I think Kayla Harrison, it could potentially be, if she's taking the right steps, build herself up to be the person to fight Cyborg. And she's already talked about this in the past. She wants to fight Cyborg. She's already looking to challenge that goal. She wants to be the best in the world. So Cyborg versus Kayla Harrison is going to happen. But of course, Cyborg's got to defend her belt successfully. Kayla Harrison's got to take the right steps, but she's with AT&T. I'm sure she's got a great manager, so I think she's in good hands to be built up to that fight. So and she's got the size as well that a lot of people don't have when they fight Cyborg. Cyborg fights a lot of people that are coming up from bantamweight as of right now. So I'm fucking already pumped for this. I'm gonna be watching all of her fights coming up, PFL, all of that shit. So she said, I don't see this being any different. It's positive motivation for me. It's healthy. I think it's always healthy to have something to chase, something to look forward to. I train at American Top Team, and some sense UFC champ Amanda Nunes is that for me. Ex-UFC champ Joanna Jacare is that for me. I see these girls, I see how successful they are, and I want to be them. I want to be the superstar. I want to be counted amongst the greats like them. Because I started training February of last year, I wanted a full year of training. I wanted a full year of hard sparring before I stepped into the cage. So she's preparing herself the right way. She, full year of training, full year of hard sparring. Now she's about to make her MMA debut tomorrow. And all I can say for now is I can't wait. I think that's enough. But yeah, you guys get the point. She's going to be fighting tomorrow, and she's got her eyes set on greatness. I mean, she's even literally talked about Chris Cyborg in the past and that future potential fight. So keep your eye on Kayla Harrison if you're not already. I'm on the bandwagon. But I'm on a lot of bandwagons. But still, this one, well, I'm not on a lot of bandwagons, but I'm on the right bandwagons, I feel like. With that being said, this is another interesting topic. Let's see what the full-time family's talking about, though. I'm busting my ass over here. Full-time DSP, says the sociopath. Guitar Babe says, Harrison has potential, but she isn't Ronda Rousey. You're right, she's not Ronda Rousey. Guitar Babe, what's up? She's Ronda Rousey 2.0. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, though, Guitar Babe? She's going to get bloodied by the Borg, says George Page. I don't know. Don't be so sure. Maybe if they fought tomorrow. You're right, George Page. If they fought tomorrow. But they're not fighting tomorrow. They might be fighting in 2019. They're definitely not fighting in 2018. They might not be fighting until 2020. Tell me that she's getting bloodied in 2020. Yeah, I'm talking about 2020 right now. We don't like you because you edited, falsely reported on sensationalized of Charles, attempted to get him to catch a case. No, I didn't. And I've already explained that in the video, CWL. I didn't do that. I didn't falsely report on anything. I was actually in the live stream when that happened, and I was like, yo, should I put this on my channel to get it more attention, to help him potentially get a lawsuit? That was my goal, to help him get the fucking lawsuit. Because the dude had no right to slap his phone out of his hand, and I've already talked about this in the past. But motherfuckers are low-key crazy, and, you know, they don't think about that. They're just like, oh, they listen to the trolls. Someone that's blocked on my channel starts talking shit, and they just run with it. And so that's on them if they believe it. And you're another guy that just listens to whatever's told to you. You don't listen to both sides of the story. You're just like, oh, okay, I'm listening to you. So I don't give a fuck what you think, brother. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel that way, blocked. It's that simple, homie. So with that being said, Chris Cyborg wants to fight Celia Brockis, says George Page. Oh, that's the boxer. I was about to say, I can't tell you who Celia Brockis is. That's the boxer, huh? She has talked about transitioning to boxing. Maybe she can go back. You know, she has talked about fighting Cecilia Brockis. There's also been talks about her fighting Amanda Nunes. But I would, even if she fights Cecilia Brockis, I mean, Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather. I don't think she planned on staying there permanently. Fight Celia Brockis in this year, 2019. Meanwhile, Kayla Harrison's going to be getting in them rounds, getting in that experience. Meanwhile, Kayla Harris is going to be training with Amanda Nunes, training with Joanna Jacare, motherfucking with her eye on the prize. 2020, motherfucker, that's all I'm saying. 2020. 2020 Harrison versus the board. That's all I'm saying. George Page said, hey, guitar, babe. She's still going to get bloodied in 20... No, you can't give me that, George Page. We gotta agree to disagree on that. 2020, Harrison versus the board. It's gonna be a good one. I mean, there's a good chance Cyborg is the GOAT. But 2020, that's all I'm saying. Fuck with your boy, and that fucks with your girl. You get the point. Hunger strike until we get Nunes versus Cyborg. Let's go. Cyborg versus Nunes. Man, I mean, that's a fight I want to see. It's going to be a great fight, but I mean, I don't even know if Nunes can get the job done, to be honest. I'm a Nunes fan. A lot of people underrate Nunes or don't even like Nunes, but I think she's the bantamweight GOAT. As of right now, there's nobody that fought at 135 pounds that can beat her. There's not one person. Not a Miesha Tate, not a Holly Holm, not a Valentina Shevchenko. Maybe if Valentina Shevchenko and Nunes fought 5 times, you know, people would say, oh, Valentina would win 3. I don't know about that. I think if they fought 5 times, Nunes would win 3 out of 5. Maybe Valentina would win 2 of them. Maybe she's that close to Amanda Nunes. But I think her home is flyweight, and I think at bantamweight, Amanda Nunes is that chick. So I give her props, but she's fucking with the board. We're talking about 2018 Cyborg right now, doesn't matter. But 2020, no. Either way, I don't even think Amanda Nunes could get it done in 2020. But the thing is, even if Amanda Nunes isn't able to get it done, she's gonna be training with Kayla Harrison. Even if she just gets some rounds in with Cyborg, right? She fights Cyborg. That's gonna be some experience for Cyborg that she can help translate to her teammate and put her energy into Kayla Harrison for 2020. That's all I'm saying. 2020. All right, that weird guy said stop feeding them trolls, bro. Hey, man, I'm not feeding them. The earlier today, that wasn't really even the trolls. That was the day one hitter, you know, so that was fucked up. But that CWL, I'm fucking blocked over there. So when they're over there just talking, you know what I'm saying? Talking amongst you. Hey, where's full time? Where's full time? Like I'm the topic of conversation over there, but I can't respond because I'm blocked on all 3 of my accounts, maybe even 4. I'm blocked, so I can't say that's not what the fuck was going on if you just look or listen. But so that's why I responded to him there, to let him know what's going on, just because he actually used to be a fan of the channel till he started listening to fucking the trolls. So I mean, you know, there's gonna be people that just take their word for it, but yeah, I was just responding to him because I know he actually used to fuck with the channel. Jorge1 said Brockis got dropped by Callie Reese. She barely won. Cyborg is not McGregor and Brockis is not Mayweather. Cyborg will end her. Oh shit. I thought the Celia, I don't know. Isn't Celia Brockis like that black boxing champion chick? I thought she was like the Mayweather of WB, women's boxing. I don't even know what they call WBA. I thought she was like the Mayweather of women's boxing. I thought she was like the champ over there. No one could beat her. So if you're just talking about, yeah, if she fought in MMA, Cyborg would end her. But Cyborg just pure boxing against a boxer going to their sport? I don't know. Yeah, Cyborg's a beast, but I don't know if I'm going to pick an MMA fighter in a boxing ring unless I'm just, you know, maybe I would. Maybe once it came around, we might get to team MMA versus boxing. But if I'm being logical right now, looking at Cyborg versus Brockis, and even win or lose, do you think she's going to keep boxing? I mean, even if she did win, that's fine. Let's say I don't know anything about Brockis. Maybe Cyborg crushes her in the 2nd round. You know what I'm saying? But even if she wins, what does she do now? Just stay in boxing? And if I'm honestly, I think women's MMA fighters might make more money than women's boxing fighters. I've heard that. Like, it's not the same with men's. I heard women's boxers do not make a lot of money. Maybe Celia Brækhus does, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think Cyborg, she's becoming even more and more of a star. You know, all the casual fans at this point, they probably know who Cyborg is. You know, if I ask Microwave who Cyborg is, he definitely knows. You can't say that about a lot of fighters. So, with that being said, Cyborg's actually a bigger star in WMMA, so she's the champion also, championship pay. I don't see, unless she loses her belt, I don't really see her just wanting to, hey, man, fuck the UFC, man, I'm out of here. Unless, you know, they really piss her off and she doesn't get a fight and they close the division or her contract is up. But I would assume as the champion in the UFC, she would make more money than becoming a full-time boxer. You know what I'm saying? So even if she did beat Celia Brækhus or lose, I think she comes back to MMA. And then 2020, 2020, motherfucker. Israel A said, what's up, brother? It's talking to I'm Him. Let's go. I'm Him in the building. Steakophobic Z said, Amanda Cyborg would be awesome, but I also want to see Borg Holmes. Yeah, I want to see, no, I don't, yeah, Borg Holmes too. I thought you were saying Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. I've always wanted to see that fight, just because I feel like that's the missing piece to Amanda Nunes, like as the bantamweight GOAT right now. She's beat everybody else, all the big names of the division, including Ronda Rousey. She's one of the only 2 girls that got to fight Ronda Rousey. So with a win over Ronda Rousey, a win over Miesha Tate, a win over Valentina Shevchenko, and then a win over Holly Holm, I think that solidifies her as the 135 GOAT. And I think that's the best matchup. I mean, Caitlin Vieira, you know, deserves the shot. You know, I listen to CHS Combat Sports. Shout out to the coach, you know, and what's right and all of that with WMMA. But as far as the business aspect, #1 contender, Holly Holm, she you know, she gets that title shot a lot of the times. And to be honest, as a fan, that's one of the names I want to see Amanda Nunes, you know, fight. I mean, Caitlin Vieira, that's a cool fight too, but as far as a business, I don't think it does near the same business as Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm, especially if you like market it as that. Amanda Nunes has beat Rousey, she beat Tate, she beat Shevchenko. Can she beat, like, you know, Holly Holm? Like, that's really the last of the big names of the bantamweight division, the championship contending big names, people that have been fighting for the belt in the last couple of years. Caitlin Vieira is a new name, but I kind of just want to see Holly. I've wanted to see that even before Caitlin Vieira fought her last fight, even before Holly Holm moved up to and fought Cyborg. I kind of wanted to see Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. So I would like to see that fight, honestly. Megan is no joke, even though Holly dominated her, said Steakophobic. I love watching Amanda fight. Yeah, man, she's really a beast. I mean, she might not be marketable, or she might not be the best for business, it seems like. You know, doesn't sell the most pay-per-views. But as far as her skills, I mean, it's kind of a situation like Demetrius Johnson. I mean, I'm not saying she's like P for P #1, but I'm saying it's a situation where she's got the skills. She's probably the best in her division by a long shot. There's probably not anyone that's going to beat her in her division. Well, I mean, I don't even know if Caitlin Vieira is going to beat Amanda Nunes, to be honest. She's probably a pretty big underdog, but she's got a shot. You know, MMA, anything can happen. But I just feel like Amanda Nunes is the best of her division. She's beat the big names. You know, Demetrius Johnson's beat everybody in the division with a win over Holly Holm. You could pretty much say that for Amanda Nunes. Yeah, you got people coming up like Sergio Pettis. That's going to be a new name. Yeah, Caitlin Vieira is going to be a new name. But if she beats Holly Holm, she's beat everybody. But it's not really, you know, transitioning to business. But I still like to see her fight though, because she you know, especially for she gets the, you know, for a WMMA fighter, when she punches, you know, and like when she punches, sometimes you just see fighters like look at her like, I didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying? Like she's a beast in there, hell of a fighter, and she's well rounded, and yeah. So and the names that she's beat on top of that, I feel like she, you know, she's earned my respect as an MMA fan. Given Surname said yeah, but she found Megan's weakness on the ground. Cyborg ain't going out like that. Yeah, I hear you. That's for sure. Yeah, Holm versus Cyborg 2 would be it'd be a fun fight, but that might be one of the least ones I want to see right now. I mean, it'd be a cool fight, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd probably pick Holly Holm, maybe to even lose another decision. You know what I'm saying? If not a KO TKO. But yeah, so let's move on to the next topic. David Branch willing to fight Jacare Souza in Brazil. He said, I'd go to the freaking moon. Now, this is going on, but it also looks like Jacare's manager might have been turning down the fight. But this is what David Branch had to say. I'm willing to go anywhere. I'd go to the freaking moon if I had a passport and a freaking space shuttle. That's what I gotta do, man. We have to do this. It must be done. We have to get this out the way so we don't have to worry about this anymore. I won my last one. He lost his last one. It makes total sense. I'm not trying to play matchmaker. That's not my job. But as a fighter, that's the fight I want. If you ask me who I'd like to call out, that's the guy I'd like to do it with. He's a warrior. He's a fighter. He's been fighting for a long time. It doesn't make sense to go fight David Branch right now. This is coming from Jacare's manager. That's what I was saying. I think they've kind of turned the fight down a little bit. It doesn't make sense to go fight David Branch right now. Jacare is not in a hurry. He will sit down like everyone else does and wait for a bigger fight. Jacare has always fought opponents ranked lower than him, and it's time to face someone ahead of him. So, you guys know what that means. You know what I'm saying? And normally, that only happens whenever somebody's coming off of a loss, right? When it's a business decision. But it looks like you're ducking. Whenever you're a fighter and someone's calling you out and you say, no, I want to fight someone ranked ahead of me. It's kind of hard to call your shot like, hey, we just took a loss. When you're coming off of a loss, can you really make a demand like, I want to fight someone that's ranked ahead of me? Whenever Wonder Boy was saying he wanted to fight someone ranked ahead of him, he was at least coming off of a win over Jorge Masvidal, right? It wasn't like he was on that 2-fight losing streak and calling any shots like, yeah, I'm coming off of a loss, but I still don't want to fight Darren Till because I want to fight someone ranked up. He at least was coming off of a win. Here, Jacare's kind of coming off of a loss, and his manager's still saying, like, nah, we're good on David Branch. Doesn't really make sense. And David Branch explained, it makes perfect sense. I'm coming up, you're going down, meet in the middle. It actually does make sense, but Jacare's manager's coming out like, nah, we're kind of good. And David Branch is even willing to go over to Brazil to fight him, So it's like, if Jacare felt like he could beat David Branch, or if Jacare's manager felt like he could beat David Branch, and he was offering to fight you in Brazil, you're going to take the fight. Oh, this is a fight I can win, and I'm fighting at home? Fuck yeah, I'm going to get a win over a ranked opponent in front of my home crowd. The only reason you don't take this fight is if you feel like you can't win the fight, and if that's the case, maybe, or if you feel like it's going to be really hard to win the fight, maybe you don't think you're just going to lose, like, oh, I can't beat him at all. But maybe you feel like it's a bad matchup, so you're like, I don't really want to fight that guy. But, it doesn't look good for Jacare. But he is a legend in the game, so, does he get a Legends pass? Does he get a Veterans pass? I know some people ain't going to give him that pass. But David Branch has said he's even willing to go to Brazil, let alone Brazil, the freaking moon, to fight Jacare. It'd be a big fight for David Branch. David Branch coming off of that first-round KO over Thiago Santos, and Jacare's coming off of that split decision loss over Kelvin Gastelum, though. It was a split decision. Even though he was coming off a loss, it was a split decision. But Jacare, I think, is still ranked in the top 5. We can pull up the rankings real fast and see who can he fight up. It's just one of those situations where if you're ranked too high, how can you really just want to fight up? Let's look at the welterweight rankings right here. We got at welterweight. We're looking for. Damn, where's Jacare ranked? Oh, we're looking at middleweight. I'm tripping. We're looking at middleweight. Okay, where's Jacare at? Jacare's ranked 5. So if he wants to fight up, he just fought Gastelum. Maybe Jacare versus Weidman. If Weidman this is the problem though. Gastelum and Weidman are kind of vying for a title shot. We don't know who's gonna get that. But let's say Weidman got the title shot. Who would it be? Jacare versus Yoel, the rematch? Coming off of a loss, I don't see you getting a fight with the number. Just coming off of a loss, period, you usually don't fight up in the rankings. Normally, when you come off a loss, you don't fight. That's not how you earn a #1 contender fight. You know what I'm saying? You don't go into a fight like, man, if I lose this fight, I'm the #1 contender. I get a #1 contender fight. So, coming off of that close loss to Kelvin Gastelum, there's only a couple of options ranked above you, as his manager's saying. They want to fight ranked up. There's only a couple of options. So probably not going to be the Gastelum rematch. He's looking for a title shot. He's definitely looking to fight up. Weidman, maybe, if he doesn't get a title shot. or Rockhold. He's moving up to light heavyweight. Scratch that. So the only other option is Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero, he's talking about moving up to light heavyweight as well. So Jacare, if he's only going to fight up, there's really only one option. That's wait to see if Weidman doesn't get booked. David Branch isn't even ranked that low. He's ranked number 7. Who wouldn't want to get back on the winning track beating a guy ranked right under you at home? So with all that being said, it does look a little bad for Jacare on the end. David Branch willing to fight him at home, only ranked 2 spots down. But Jacare's manager's not looking like he's into the fight. But we'll see what happens, though, because the UFC's the matchmakers. But, you know, I don't know how every fighter's contract is different. But, you know, you can't just go around turning down a bunch of fights. So that might be Jacare's first if they offer him that fight. Because we heard with Yair Rodriguez. We heard this. We haven't saw the contract. But it was either Chael Sonnen, and if it was Chael Sonnen, I don't even know if it's true as far as Yair Rodriguez's contract, but I believe it was Chael Sonnen that said the UFC has to offer each fighter 2 fights, and they have to turn down 2 fights before they can get cut. And so I don't know if that's everybody's deal. You know, I don't know if Jacare turns down 2 fights. I don't even know, you know, if the UFC would cut him, if he would, you know, he's a legend. Bellator, I'm sure, would love him. So that's a whole weird situation. But just as far as David Branch versus Jacare is concerned, we'll see what happens. I think that'd be a great fight. And like David Branch said, he's coming off of a win. He's ranked 7. You're coming off a loss, ranked 5. That actually makes perfect sense as far as the next fight. And it'd be a good matchup for us, the fans, as well. So we'll see what happens with that. This was interesting. I saw this like, oh shit, they're playing Bounty. They're playing Bounty in fucking over in GSP's camp over at TriStar. They got a bounty on GSP's head. Faraz Sahabi joined Joe Rogan on the MMA show and said that he used to offer St. Pierre's training partners $5,000 to knock him out or take him down. I need to take a drink of this water. My mouth's getting pretty dry, but it wasn't like, hey man, every single person in here, anybody that, if you can catch George slipping, like, hey, you know, if anybody in here knocks George out all day, this challenge is good all day. Just catch him slipping. Could you imagine that? That'd be crazy. No, but it was just the first person to do it in sparring because people would treat George like the legend, you know. They would treat George St. Pierre like, oh man, we're in his camp. He's the legend. He's the champion. We don't want to knock him out. We don't want to outdo him. So Faraz Sahabi had to give them motherfuckers a little motivation. Hey, fuck all that starstruck shit. Who wants some cash? $5,000 right here. You know, a lot smaller than Dana White's. You know how that picture with Dana White with the money that fucking stacked like that? Probably a lot smaller stack. $5,000. Whoever knocks out GSP or takes him down first. That'll get him that motivation when you get in sparring. You could imagine it would be hard. I mean, just sparring with any champion. You don't want to knock them out, but before their fight, you know, if you're training for a fight, you don't want to be that guy that fucking knocked out GSP. But if no one wants to be that guy, how is GSP gonna ever get in some real rounds? How is he ever gonna get in some real fight experience for his fucking training camp? You know, so he had to use a little, you know, smarts and money to motivate these guys. He said, we reach those high intensity levels periodically through the year, and we have to go do it a certain way so that it's fun. George was on your show and he was saying I was trying to kill him in the practice room. He's right, but I do it rarely. I do it so periodically I make it a joke. I brought the guys in a room and I was watching them spar with George, and they don't want to touch his face. This is when he was like a megastar, when he was the champion. Nobody wants to try to double leg him. Nobody wants to hurt him. They're like, I'm not going to come here in his house and try to show him. There's a respect thing. They're starstruck, these young kids. So I would bring these young kids and I would be like, listen, guys, I would give them a speech. The first guy to double leg him, the first guy to put him out, I'll give a $5,000 reward. If you knock George out, I'll give you $5,000. If you know what just popped in my head? Y'all remember Bounty Gate? Let me continue, though. We'll talk about that after this. If you put George on his back, if you take him down, if you put him on his back, I'll stop the whole practice room and praise you for 20 minutes in front of everybody in the gym. And students don't get praised by me very often. George would be like, oh my God, these guys are coming after me. I could imagine George St. Pierre's voice. So he wouldn't get riled up. I would do this periodically. We're talking about world title fights, stuff on the line. I need these guys to show me where George is missing something, because when you're having this perfect practice and you win all the time, what do you work on? Nothing went wrong. There's nothing to fix. So there's times where I would really red light him. Man, he put that fire on GSP. But no, Bounty Gate was something that happened in the NFL, and it was years back when I watched the NFL, like 4 or 5 years ago maybe. But it was a situation where it was a bounty, but I think it was against the other teams. Like, hey, if you fucking take him out the game, or if you injure him this way, like certain players, if you take him out or hit him this hard, we'll give you money, like legit money. So it was like they're putting bounties on other players and shit. But it was like a game in the locker room, It wasn't like they were like trying to kill him or end their career. Like, hey man, if you end his career, I'll give you this much money. It wasn't no shit like that. Football's a violent game, a dangerous game. It was just like, hey man, crack him. If we want to win this game, we gotta fuck him up. We gotta make him not want to come back out here. Not ruin his career, but it still got looked at really bad. So you can see how some people might see this and be like, what? You were paying motherfuckers to knock GSP out? Are you crazy? But it makes sense. You got to do it. What are you going to do? Just keep winning every day in practice? No one wants to really try? How else are you going to motivate them? So I hear what he's saying, man. Definitely a unique approach possibly, but I hear what he's saying and where he's coming from. Let's see what the full-time family is saying. The youngins, the IRA bomb squad are coming. Oh my God. He's Jeopardy. He's like Jeopardy smart, said Steakophobic. Oh, he's talking about Faraz. It said, Faraz has too much knowledge. My brain was exploding while listening to that JRE, said Webb's PK vids. That's what I'm saying. You can't really judge his approach because it's smart as fuck. There's worse people to lose to than to beat. That Faraz JRE was heat, said Given Sure Name. Hell yeah, Yoel versus Gustafson. Yoel ain't going to be middleweight for that, little me thinks. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kevin Terry said, you're supposed to take out the best player on the team. The rest of them crumble. You take out the head and the body falls. The 22 game said they should have paid his opponents more to knock out GSP in the actual bout stand. I wonder if anybody was still even able to. Like, you know what I'm saying? And also, something else to think about, GSP's a dude that he's very conscious of fucking CTE and brain damage and stuff like that, So, with that being said, I wonder if he knew his coach was like paying motherfuckers to essentially knock him out, scramble his eggs. You know what I'm saying? GSP might have been like, could you imagine GSP telling his partners in one room, hey guys, CTE is a real thing. When we fight, we don't need to be trying to knock each other out. Because we're going to, we want to go home to our families. There's no point in us, And then in the other room, coach is like, I hear what GSP's saying, but $5,000 to anybody that cleans his motherfucking clock. First knockout of the day. Yo, that's fucking. Oh shit, that's crazy. That'd be funny, like a funny skit, bro. GSP all fucking CTE aware, like conscious, woke about this shit. For us, it's like, man, fuck that. We need some real rounds in here. Yo, that's fucking hilarious. Oh yeah, this is the manager saying that Jacare was not interested in the fight. I think there was actually some tweets. David Branch responded. He said, officially we're being told by the UFC, the man who calls himself the Alligator has been neutered. Jacare has declined to fight in his homeland. Oh shit, I gotta make a video on that. That's got a ring to it. David Branch says the Alligator Jacare has been neutered. That's a headline. This motherfucker ain't playing. He said, I just want to be clear to everyone. I've been offered to fight Jacare, main event, August 22nd in Brazil, and he's not feeling confident enough to take the fight. Oh, shoot. He's airing shit out like 21 Savage. Pull up and air shit out. 21. I'm just saying, holy smokes. David Branch said he was offered. It sounded like just speculation at first. Hell, I'll fight him in the moon. I'll fight him on Brazil. He didn't even blast his shit like that. But now he's saying, hey, everybody, tell Brazil, Jacare, is supposed to be in the main event of that joint, but he's trying to fight up. And if you're talking about this soon, he's definitely not going to be able, to find one of those top 5 opponents. We were just looking at the rankings. Weidman and Gastelum, he is not going to be the option. He just fought Gastelum. So it's out of Weidman, who still has that complication with his surgery, and he's kind of looking for a title fight. But Gastelum, he's got 2 of the guys in the top 5 are talking about going to light heavyweight. Luke Rockhold's injured. There's only one other option. And, you know, is that one guy going to be available to fight on August 22nd? Now, if you're Jacare, if you can't get an opponent ranked above you, you would think you'd want someone. You don't want to fight no unranked guy. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to fight ranked 15. You know, usually you don't want to fight the lowest ranked guy, maybe unless you feel like you can beat him and you just want to win. But David Branch isn't that far of a jump down. It's not like, you know, you're the number 2 guy having to give the number 11 guy an opportunity. It's just 2 spots. Even if you lose the fight, you probably only go down 1 spot in the rankings. And it's a main event in your hometown. David Branch is airing that out. That's kind of looking bad. You know what I'm saying? The UFC offered it. David Branch accepted it. Main event in your hometown. And David Branch says the man who calls himself the alligator has been neutered. Holy smokes. Blowing Jacare's spot up. That ain't... I don't even know if that's cool. Is that cool? Like, do fighters like that shit? I don't think that's cool. I don't think people like when you, like, put it out there that someone turned down the fight. You know, just blow up somebody's spot like that. Like, hey, everybody, by the way.
The Money Channel?
Oh, shit, what the fuck is this? The Money Channel? What is that? Why do you do these streams so early? We got work and gyms. What, bro? It's 6:40 p.m. where I'm at, 7:40 Eastern. I was doing full-time MMA in the morning, but my job now, my shifts, it's summertime. So when we're working through the year, we have evening shifts, you know, like 2 to 10:30 p.m. But summertime, they cut the air off in all the buildings. They're trying to save on the electricity and shit. So we're in there working with like no AC. So they try to work early as possible so we're not working through the fucking midday. So we go in at like 6:30 in the morning and it's a 10-hour shift to like 4:30. So full-time MMA in the morning was literally in the middle of those work shifts. So I had to fucking move it to full-time MMA in the evenings until it'll probably go back to the mornings whenever I can, like, when the summer's over, whenever we go back to normal work shifts and shit like that. But as of right now, I had to adjust because I couldn't pick up any shifts if I was obligated to a morning show every morning because I have to work in the morning now. So that's what that is. But so maybe, but you can watch this on a replay though. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a live stream. You can't rewind. Go to the motherfucker, go to work, go to the gym, and then motherfucking pop me on after you're done. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, George Page said, damn. And I think you might have been the same person. Somebody said when I was doing full-time MMA in the morning, like, damn, you're doing these in the mornings when I'm at work. And now someone's like, hey, you're doing these in the evenings when I'm at work. It might have been somebody different, though. But appreciate the $2 donation now and later. George Page said, damn, what state do you live in? Man, I've said that like 10 times. I'm just going to start making everything a motherfucking mystery. I live in Las Vegas. That's where I'm visualizing. That's what we're doing. I live in Las Vegas, full-time family. That's where I want to live in the future. You know what I'm saying? Whenever that's where I want to move. That's where we're going to be based out of. Our future headquarters is in Las Vegas. So that's where I'm from, motherfucking Las Vegas. See, giving Cerrone, no, he's been around. I've said it 10 times. You know, it's out there. People know where I'm at. But now we're on some visualization shit. We see ourselves in Las Vegas. So from here on out, I'm from Las Vegas. George Page said, gotta be in Cali. The 22 games that I've caught some replays here and then. See, that's all you gotta do, man. And every day there's gonna be something around. So with that being said, we'll move to the next topic. Caitlin Vieira says she went off on the possibility of losing the title shot to Holly Holm. This is interesting, you know, because Caitlin Vieira was like, and I'll be honest, like, whenever they said Caitlin Vieira was next, I was kind of like, she is? You know what I'm saying? And just, I don't know why, like, because who did she beat? We'll pull it up. But I don't think she beat the #1 contender or something like that. So I was like, and Holly Holm, of course, was the #1 contender who was fighting at featherweight. So she couldn't fight the #1 contender. But when she fought Caitlin Vieira's last opponent, I don't even know if she necessarily fought the #2 contender. Where's women's bantamweight? He said, yeah, that was me, 9 and later, best super chat. Oh, I'm not doing these just for when somebody can donate on the super chat. I'm just doing these for, you know, when I can pick up other work shifts. You know what I'm saying? I would like to do it in the morning. I think that's cool, doing a morning show. I actually liked that a lot better. I was starting to become a fucking morning person and shit. waking up with the birds, you know, like that was super dope to me. I would love to be able to do it in the morning, but I just can't, because if I'm gonna be able to find shifts at my other job, it's gonna all be morning shifts. But yeah, if you can't super chat, you can't super chat. I don't give a fuck. I mean, that's cool. You know, that's a cool little thing you can do while streaming on YouTube. But I don't even be thinking about that shit. But women's bantamweight, we got Caitlin Vieira. She is now the number 2 contender, which is I see Juliana Peña's out. Raquel Pennington just lost. So I mean, she was kind of winner. She's 10-0. You know, I mean that's a good record. She is undefeated. She beat Kat Zingano and Sarah McMahon. But whenever they fought, I don't know if Kat Zingano was even ranked in the top 5, you know. I think Caitlin Vieira's kind of, and this was just how I was like looked at it whenever she won the fight versus Kat Zingano. Kat Zingano's now ranked number 6, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe she was up there, but I don't recall Kat Zingano being in the top 5 anytime recently, but who knows. But with that being said, though, Caitlin Vieira, she won the fight, and was it a finish? I don't even think I just was kind of surprised whenever, you know, they were saying she was getting the next title shot. And maybe it's because she's not that big of a name, you know, for Amanda Nunes to fight. And I kind of, and in my mind, I was thinking about Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. You know, I was thinking about a super fight. And I already let you guys know, I've always kind of thought about Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. So in my mind, I was never like Caitlin Vieira's guaranteed a title shot. It's not like she's an interim champion. Like, if you're not an interim champion, you're never guaranteed a title shot, ever. Even if you beat Kat Zingano, maybe if you beat Holly Holm, maybe if you became an interim champion. Thanks again for the $2 down later. Said Luke Thomas taking over the MMA Hour. Sad news. I just saw that right before the stream. That's pretty crazy. So now I'm wondering, are Ariel and Luke like gonna compete every Monday? Like, because I thought Ariel was going to be doing a similar show on Mondays, but just on ESPN. So, if Luke's going to be doing the MMA Hour every Monday, is Ariel also going to still do a 4-hour show every Monday, or is he only doing the Chael Sonnen show? Like, now are Luke and Ariel going to be competing on separate shows on Mondays? Like, 2 separate 4-hour Monday hours? I know Ariel's renaming his, but who are the guests going to go to? Like the big guests. Are they going to go to Ariel's show? Are they still going to go to the MMA? I don't know how that's going to work. So, yeah, that'll be interesting, though. But, yeah, Luke Thomas on the MMA, that will definitely be interesting to see. I mean, I don't think it's going to – Luke Thomas is definitely one of the best MMA reporters out there other than Ariel Helwani, as far as, you know, one of the harder working ones. He's always working on separate shit, doing a radio show, doing the live chats, doing the beat. Luke Thomas is a busy motherfucker out there, bro. So he's worked hard to get this shot. So give him an opportunity and see how it is. I haven't even saw it. So Leon Dubson said, in my opinion, Luke's a good replacement, but time will tell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Time will tell. I don't know how he's going to fit into Ariel Helwani's shoes because I'm so used to Ariel Helwani. But I'm definitely going to watch and see how it goes because I don't even know how it's going to work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is there going to be an Ariel? Am I going to have to choose? Or am I going to have to, like, watch 2 4-hour MMA hours, which is cool if I have a work shift, something to listen to. But, man, you know what I'm saying? I just want to see how it all plays out. That should have been your job full-time. MMA said give it your name. No, bro, I'm not even close to that. I'm not even close to that. That's funny, though. Could you guys imagine? Could you imagine, like, the shakeup of the MMA world? If fucking little old fucking 5,000 subscriber Taco Bell Wani came out of nowhere from a year ago. Like, who's going to replace Ariel? Like, we found a guy. He goes by Taco Bell Wani. It's not quite Ariel. Yo, that would have been. Could you imagine? No, that's not even close to my job, man. I'm not even prepared. I'm not qualified. I don't got the connects. Nothing. But I appreciate so you know what I'm saying. I appreciate the gesture. Web PK Vids, and was that a subscription or was that a donation? I don't know. It might have been a subscription, I think. Oh, I don't know. Maybe somebody unsubscribed and subscribed because it played the noise like somebody subscribed. But I look at the thing and that's not the case. So, either way, back to the chat. Oh yeah, and Caitlin Vieira. So yeah, But I did hear other people like even though what I was saying about Caitlin Vieira and me, I never thought she was guaranteed a title fight. Like, I was never in my mind like, oh yes, Caitlin Vieira's next no matter what. Just because you know how that goes. For one, she's not the biggest name in the division. For two, it's not like she just beat one of the biggest names in the division or even the number one contender. It's not like I was looking at Caitlin Vieira versus Kat Zingano as a title eliminator. Winner of this fight fights Amanda Nunes. I didn't think that. So when she won, I did hear, and I think Dana White might have said it, like she's next. If she wins this fight, she deserves to fight Amanda Nunes or something like that. He might have said like something like that along those lines, and I think Amanda Nunes might have even said, yeah, I'll fight Caitlin. I think she deserves a title shot. But I don't, just because you deserve a title shot, I don't know if that necessarily means you're going to get one. Hell, TJ Dillashaw deserved a title shot too for a while. You know what I'm saying? But when there's bigger fights, bigger opportunities, bigger names, whenever shit happens, whenever super fights follow, shit changes. So when you're not the interim champion, you're never set in stone guaranteed a title fight. But I could understand why Caitlin Vieira would be upset. I haven't read what she had to say yet. I know Coach did a video, and I still have to listen to that. I haven't, so I'm gonna hear his take on it too. But as far as WMMA, if you are interested in WMMA, it's really kind of like got its own little thing. It's MMA is men's and women. But there's actually like a little subculture of like WMMA, especially with the Invicta All Women's League and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, Coach's channel is for you. Make sure you go subscribe. CSH Combat Sports. I get those mixed up sometimes, CHS and CSH. But Coach Shelton Harrison, CSH. So yeah. But with that being said, to what Caitlin Vieira had to say, my team and I worked really hard for this opportunity. They want to put Nunes and Holly, but we've worked hard to get there. If I'm number 2 in the rankings, that's because of my work, not because the UFC kept me there like they did with Holly Holm. I have a lot of respect with Holly Holm. She was the champion. I respect every fighter, but you can't simply move up and down in the weight and leapfrog me. The only girl she's beaten recently at bantamweight is Betch Correia, who I have a lot of respect for as well, but she's been the number 10 in the ranking. Holly Holm had 2 losses. Beats Betch and stays number 1, that's illogical. She's got a really good point there. She says she's next because she's the number 1, but it's easy to stay number 1 beating the number 10 and the UFC keeping you there. She's got a great point. Holly Holm does get a little bit of help in the rankings, and the UFC though doesn't control the rankings. I believe they're media generated actually, so the UFC doesn't control the rankings. Maybe they have some influence. I don't know. I don't think so. But to my knowledge, they're media-controlled rankings. So the media is voting Holly Holm as the number 1 fight, which that's a whole that's a whole another topic for another day. I don't even know if there is a day to discuss who does the rankings and how. Because if it's the media, right? If it's somebody that's unbiased, who the fuck is voting, for Holly Holm to stay up there? Because if she makes great points at bantamweight, maybe Holly Holm is the number 1 featherweight contender, especially with the win over Megan Anderson now. She, so it makes sense for her to maybe get back in there with Cyborg. But I mean, you can make all the sense you want, honestly. Before we dive too deep, you can make all the sense in the world you want. This is a business, right? And I heard Chael Sonnen had an amazing fucking video, bro. He was like right after training or some shit. He's been doing videos on his YouTube channel. An amazing video. And he even made a great point. He said people get it confused. They look at this as a sport. This is a business. Yes, this business happens to showcase a sport. But if you're one of those people that think, the rankings, or not even just the rankings, but if you think the fighter that, just deserves it every time, and the UFC doesn't have to make decisions to make the most money, well then try this. Don't listen to any MMA media. Watch the fight on mute. Don't listen to the commentary. Just watch the fight and see how entertained you are. Don't listen to any build-up, no trash talk. Don't even see the fight. You don't listen to anything, and then watch the fight on mute. This is a business. All of that adds on to the promotion. That's the UFC doing their job and shit like that. So with that being said, being a business, I get it. Caitlin Vieira makes a great point. Holly Holm hasn't fought anyone in the top 5 aside from title fights. She hasn't fought anybody aside from Betch Correia. in a while. That's not because she hasn't been fighting, right? It's not like she's been fought Betch Kohei and she's just been sitting back on the beach waiting for a title fight. She's been fighting in featherweight, fighting title fights. She wasn't fighting scrubs at featherweight. Hell, she fought Chris Cyborg. You're gonna tell me Holly Holm losing to Chris Cyborg at featherweight means she should lose her ranking at bantamweight? Maybe not. You know, I don't think so. But maybe I still see what you're saying. You know, what have you done for me lately in the bantamweight division? And now, especially if you're Caitlin Vieira, you were kind of told, or not even guaranteed, but you were told you deserved a title shot. You felt like you might be next. You're waiting for your title shot. And now you're hearing, what? You motherfuckers, Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes are talking about fighting? You know what I'm saying? And you got Cyborg up there like, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, what about me? This is some bullshit. What's going on? I'm ranked number 2 now. I felt like I was next. So you can imagine Caitlin Vieira speaking out. And I get it, but at the same time, like I said earlier, in my mind as a fan, I never thought Caitlin Vieira was guaranteed a title fight. We've seen this in the past. Someone that was #1 contender get leapfrogged. That's happened before. But yeah, if you're the guy that gets leapfrogged or the girl that gets leapfrogged, you're gonna fucking probably feel like it's some bullshit. And she continued to say, Amanda Nunes said I was next. I honor my word. I have character. My family taught me to honor my word. Amanda Nunes saying you're next and honoring her word. Good luck with that. She also was sounding pretty hot when she was talking about that Cyborg fight. Oh, yeah, I want to fight Cyborg. It's got nothing to do with Brazil. Oh, it's got nothing to do with... She also was sounding pretty hot like she wanted to fight Cyborg. She wanted to fight Cyborg. She wanted to fight you. But it looks like it might be Holly Holm. You know what I'm saying? So be careful. I don't know. You can't just honor everybody's word. But I hear what she's saying. You know, she looked at, especially as the champion, a fellow Brazilian. Like, how could you lie to me? My bank account. See, the way my bank account is set up, like, I would love to fight you, Caitlin Vieira. Like, if you just wanted to test yourself against me, maybe you can come and spar or something with me in the gym, and I'll just show you what's up. But I'm trying to get paid, sweetie, so Holly Holm's bringing that bag, you know, like, yeah, I get it, you deserve it, and you know what I'm saying, and I thought you might be next, you know, because I just thought that was, but now I got the opportunity to fight Holly Holm, you know what I'm saying, I never fought Holly, you know, she's a former champion, she's a former champion, hear me out, like, if you were me, you would do the same thing, be honest, like, and y'all can't lie, if Caitlin Vieira was Amanda Nunes, and I know it sounds good to say, no, I wouldn't, but you probably would do the same thing. If the way your contract is set up to say, if you get pay-per-view points, if you fight Holly Holm, you make $200,000. If you fight Caitlin Vieira, you make $100,000. Who do you fight? Come on, how far do we have to dig into this? You know what I'm saying? But I do get it. Why she would be mad? She feels like she got leapfrogged, and she probably wanted that payday, the opportunity to get the belt. If you're a fighter, your goal is to get the belt. You know what I'm saying? Even if it wasn't on some fairy tale childhood, I can't wait to be the UFC champion. Even if it's just because you know once you become champion, you get paid more. Let's be honest. That's why you want the title fight. It ain't like you just want to test yourself against Amanda Nunes. Or you might just show up at American Top Team and say, hey, since we can't fight, can we at least spar? I want to test myself against the champion. You want that fight for the money as well. So if you want the fight for the money, you can't really be too mad when she's fighting Holly Holm for the money. You know what I'm saying? So, but I hear you, though. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Nunes isn't a draw. Yeah, Nunes might not be a draw, but the belt's what matters, really. You know, even if you're not a draw and you only get 2% pay-per-view, what if you fuck around and get put on a Brock Lesnar pay-per-view? You're getting paid. What if you fuck around, even if you're not a draw, you get paid more as the champion. Being a draw has nothing to do with, you know, still wanting to be the champion. Yeah, you might not be a draw, but shit, I still want to be the champion, because imagine if I'm not a draw and I'm not the champion. If she's not a draw now as the champion, what do you think she's selling when she loses the belt? It's going to be even worse. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, that has been, I mean, that is what's the word on the street is Amanda Nunes isn't a draw, you know? She had, but I mean, and yeah, she can't sell. I don't think she can sell pay-per-views on her own. But there's very few fighters that can probably just sell pay-per-views on their own. Like, saying Amanda Nunes isn't a draw, like, what does that mean? Like, fucking UFC 225 just sold, and it looks like 250,000 maybe instead of 150,000. So it was a little bit more than we expected. But still, that was the most stacked card of the year, and they're having a hard time selling over 100,000, 200,000. So I mean, there's not many draws in the UFC. So if you're not a draw, if you're not Conor McGregor, there's very few draws. If you're not Conor McGregor, if you're not John Jones, you better try and be the champion. You fight anyone, anywhere. Yeah, you might not deserve a money fight, or you can't call your shot and, oh, I want a money fight because I'm the champion. No, but you definitely still want to be the champion. And you know what I'm saying? So Bradley said this is why 115 is the best. 115-pound division, you think so? You got Rose Namajunas up there. I wonder when her next fight might be. Is there any word on Rose Namajunas' next potential opponent? I would assume maybe Jessica Andrade, but I wonder when that would happen. All good, man. Life is great. What about you? Forward thinking in the building. What is up, brother? Kevin Terry says Dana doesn't like Nunes. She would never get on a Brock Lesnar card. And I don't know about that, but I mean, that's kind of some conspiracy shit. You start talking about, like Dana White doesn't like this fighter, so they can't get on big cards. But I mean, it is kind of interesting to think about. Like I wonder, you just wonder. I wonder if there are any fighters like Dana. Like, I really don't like this motherfucker. Like behind the scenes, if they done said some shit in the UFC headquarters to Dana White one time. One time they got slick, and Dana White let it go, but. It might just be in the back of his head. I don't know, but it would be cool as fuck to be like Dana White's friend and know that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That'd be funny as fuck. Like, could you imagine? Like, I wonder. Like, Amanda Nunes that one time, man. She looked at me wrong. Like fuck that. She ain't getting on no Brock Lesnar card. No, I don't think that's going on. Because it's matchmaking and a lot of stuff like that. It's a whole business. You know what I'm saying? If you're bringing Brock Lesnar, you're trying to put the biggest fighters on the card. I don't know how that shit works, bro. We're all just fans. We're all fans, kind of just looking on the inside. But I hear what you're saying. That would be interesting. I know sometimes Dana definitely ain't on Tyron. He don't like Tyron Woodley. Sometimes they definitely had their been at odds before, and then they're friends next weekend at the motherfucking Patriots game. You know what I'm saying? Or at the birthday parties or something. But you know how it goes. Did you receive my email, bro? Said NA. I'm not sure. I'll pull that up after this. I haven't checked my email since this morning, so I'm not sure. MMA from the Heartland in the building said, what up, fam? Not too much, brother. Just full-time MMA in the evening, talking some MMA, chatting with the full-time family. So, speaking of UFC 225 pay-per-views, this is the report. And it looks like UFC 225 pay-per-view might have did better than initially reported. Now, what does this mean? We can't be sure. Initially, it was reported that, and if you guys remember my video, I was like, what the fuck? This makes no sense. Like, this is disheartening. To think the most stacked card of the year sold 150,000? That sounds like a Demetrius Johnson card. Literally, or a UFC 224, one of the least stacked cards of the year. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, don't the worst pay-per-views sell 100,000 pay-per-views? Like, I don't pay attention to the pay-per-view numbers every single time. Like, I can't tell you them off the top of my head. But whenever I see big pay-per-views, like Conor McGregor sells over 1 million. Now and later said, when is Cyborg Destroyer Kayla fighting? Oh, I thought you said, when is she fighting? She's fighting tomorrow. Kayla Harrison is fighting tomorrow. Can't wait. 2020, brother. No, I thought that's what you said. When is Cyborg fighting Harrison? Because I thought you wanted me to say 2020. That's what I thought of. 2020. Let's fucking go. Hey, MMA Heartland said, Fook El Chapo. Hey, man, that dude, it is what it is. He's scorned. That's the name for these trolls. Scorned. And they get in Troll Village and they're scorned. I wonder... Y'all remember Bubs of Steel? That was my dog until he went south. He went sour on me. I wonder if Bubs of Steel ever low key made a new account and came back and never told anybody, what up, it's Bubs. I'm back. I admit I fucked up. I was pissed off that day. I came in full time wrong. I wasn't even. I was just taking a troll's word. Because that used to be my dog. He rocked with the channel. Kevin Terry said, Tyrone whines and plays the race car too damn much, but I need to see Kobe stretched out. So who are you rooting for? Does that make you root for Tyron? I can't wait for that shit. That's gonna be a good ass fight. But with that being said, though, yeah, I was like, man, UFC 225 doesn't make any sense selling this low. Because, like, when I look at pay-per-views, John Jones, you know, the bigger pay-per-views, if you're not a Conor McGregor, like the bigger, if you sell over 500,000, that's a success. But whenever I looked at the smaller pay-per-views, like even the Amanda Nunes, Demetrius Johnson cards, or, you know, Shevchenko versus Nunes and Demetrius Johnson, they were both on that card, you know, I thought that sold like 100 and something thousand. So it's like, so you're telling me everybody's pretty much selling like Demetrius. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just ain't giving a fuck. Or it might have been just that night, but yeah, for UFC 225 to only sell 150,000, that literally made no sense to me. And it's also, you have CM Punk on the card. On top of it being stacked with actual MMA talent, you got CM Punk on the card fighting in Chicago. So I'm like, this should sell decent. So whenever we saw that 150,000, I was like, I just don't get this at all. So it looks like that number might have just been an early estimate or an early report, and now it's being reported by Dave Meltzer now. And when we're talking about numbers on pay-per-views, usually you see Dave Meltzer, I believe, like, giving you the accurate information. And that's who's saying industry sources with knowledge of the number pegged that as the end of the week. It was estimated at doing about 250,000 buys. A number that would combine both the traditional television purchases and the streaming purchases. That would be lower to what would be expected for the show. So it still did lower than was expected, but still higher than like Demetrius Johnson numbers. It says a 250,000 number likely indicates CM Punk had some positive impact, but nothing compared to the interest of his first fight back in 2016. CM Punk's first fight in 2016 sold a lot. You know, he was on that card, so it seemed like people were more interested. How is he gonna do? Now it was kind of, all right, we know what we're getting. Like, we're just seeing if he can come back and save some face. You know, like that's how you can imagine some people that believed in CM Punk. You know, like the actual CM Punk fans. Like, I was just CM Punk, fucking hashtag War Punk, dicks out for CM Punk. You know what I'm saying? Just on some fucking that day hype shit. I didn't know CM Punk in the WWE when in his first fight. I wasn't rooting for him. Like, who did he fight? Mickey Gall. I wasn't like fucking CM Punk's about to beat Mickey Gall. Like, you know. But when it's CM Punk versus Mike Jackson, we saw the first fight. It's kind of fun to root for CM Punk. But as far as people buying the pay-per-view for CM Punk, I would think that they're probably, unless you just want to see, you know, see him save face, there might not have been that many people, you know, especially compared to his first pay-per-view. Because I think his first pay-per-view numbers might have hit like 1 million pay-per-view buys or something up there, bro. Like, his first pay-per-view was a huge success. This one, not nearly as much. So even though some people might have tuned in for CM Punk, not a lot of people tuned into this card. But this is interesting. It's still interesting to me because it's like, I mean, if all of these other people that did buy the pay-per-view at once for CM Punk didn't this time, how do we really know that, you know, that extra 100,000 was really for CM Punk? You know, maybe because Colby Cutler, and I say that because there was a lot of good fights. You had Robert Whittaker versus RDA. Now, they're not known for the biggest draws, but I was kind of curious to see how Rafael Dos Anjos versus Colby Covington would do, because there was the whole Colby Covington trash talk, you know, people paying to see him lose. There was, you know, wondering to see, because that is legit, you know what I'm saying? People do pay to see you lose. That's proven with Chael Sonnen. That's proven with Conor McGregor, but on a whole nother level. So maybe Colby Covington just hasn't got there yet. You know, maybe people ain't buying him yet, but eventually talking shit, I mean, it seems to work. So, but with that being said, maybe he's not catching on yet. Maybe Colby Covington never will. Maybe it's because people don't believe Colby Covington's authentic. I don't know, but for some reason Colby Covington's not catching on. Maybe people just aren't buying the gimmick if they feel like that's what it is. But either way, it seems like UFC 225 did do worse than expected. Even 250,000 is definitely lower than I expected. I mean, with this stacked of a card, 2 title fights, Holly Holm was even on the card. Damn, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Holly Holm's even on the card, and so she ain't even selling pay-per-views anymore? Is that what you're saying? Like, damn. That's still low. Like, this seemed like a huge success. Still on paper, the most stacked card of the year. On paper, it's more stacked than UFC 226. If you're a casual fan and you look at the UFC 226 fight card, you see Miocic and Cormier, you're like, okay. You see Max Holloway and Brian Ortega. My brother probably doesn't know who Brian Ortega is, and he's a casual fan. He's not one like your grandma that doesn't know anything. He knows maybe half the champions on the roster. You know, he was interested in Tuivasa. Like, hey, I've been hearing about Tuivasa. He's even heard of Aaron Pico, but he's super casual. He doesn't watch the fights usually. But if he looked at the UFC 226 fight card, he's not going to know as many of the names as UFC 225. If he looked at UFC 225, he's going to see, okay, I know who CM Punk is. I don't give a fuck about his fight, but I know who that is. I know who Holly Holm is. I've heard about Kobe Covington's antics. And I even might know who Yoel Romero is, even if not Robert Whittaker. So there's a lot more on paper, bigger names. So I just expected a lot more from UFC 225. But something happened that night. You know what I'm saying? As far as motherfuckers did not care. Or maybe they were boycotting Kobe Covington. You know, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like, I'm not paying to see that asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because he's... Or there's also hardcore fans that could have been boycotting CM Punk. There could have been people saying, we already saw CM Punk's a joke. You're going to try and sell us this shit again? I know 5 fucking websites right now I can go to, bro. I was trying to support the fighters, and you're going to give me this CM Punk shit? Like, literally. Where you at? VitBox or something? You know what I'm saying? So, who knows what happened? There's no way to know. There was people that said there was a boxing fight, like someone named like Charlo. I don't know who that is. Charlo versus somebody. Maybe. But exactly. I don't know who the fuck that is. It's not like they're still in fucking UFC fans from the biggest. Fucking Charlo and whoever is not taking that many fans from UFC 225. If you're a casual fan, like, what? So, I mean, I don't know what the hell. You know, the NBA Finals, I think, were even over. What the fuck were people doing on this Saturday to not watch you? What the fuck? That's crazy. So, the numbers are better than expected. There's really no telling what the hell happened as far as this pay-per-view is concerned. I thought it should have sold a lot more. It was expected to sell a lot more. But whether motherfuckers were boycotting for Covington, boycotting for Punk, or whether people were not that interested in Holly Holm, whether motherfuckers don't know Yoel Robert, that shit's crazy, bro. That shit's crazy. So, the numbers are better than initially reported, but still kind of shitty compared to how big that card should have been. It's like, it still makes it seem like, okay, I guess only Conor McGregor sells. You know, I guess you have to have a country behind you, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, Conor McGregor, that was part of his deal. I guess, like, you know, in Ireland, they probably, like, they got 4 TVs in each house. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, like, for example, I'm saying, I guess, like, let's say there's 4 TVs. Like, I got a TV in my room. You know, my brother's got a TV in his room. There's a TV in the front room. And then there's one in the living room. Or some shit like that. You get what I'm saying? Or for Conor McGregor, dicks out for Conor. We're spending $240 tonight. We're ordering this pay-per-view on every TV in the motherfucking house because we're supporting our dog, Conor. Fuck you time, Matt. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's going on. I don't know, because Conor McGregor, he sold a lot of pay-per-views. Chael Sonnen, even Chael Sonnen, he sold a lot of pay-per-views. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people just aren't really interested in the trash talk gimmick anymore. You know, I don't know what. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a little disheartened by these numbers. I still feel like this card should have did way better. You know, with just looking at it, even leading into the where we've been talking about the pay-per-view. Leading up to the pay-per-view, UFC 225 was fucking stacked. You had Alistair Overeem on the prelims. So yeah, it's still some fucking bullshit that this card, like, it's still, as an MMA fan and everything, it's still disappointing. And it still doesn't, like, make any fucking sense to me. That's why it was so disappointing. Like, what the fuck are you guys buying pay-per-views? Like, are people just not watching the UFC anymore? Like, I don't know. It was pretty fucked up for me as an MMA fan. It kind of felt like, all right, it's too soon. I'm not gonna make that joke. Curtis Blades, what's up, full-time family? What's going on in the comment? Trump is the worst president ever, says my guy George Page. I know a lot of people feel that way. He's definitely the most polarizing president ever. There's a lot of people that feel like he's the worst president ever. Well, and to be honest, man, we've had some pretty fucked up presidents in the past, haven't we, man? Motherfucking, I don't know who it was. I don't know enough about my presidential history, but didn't one of them motherfuckers like supposedly put drugs in these streets? I don't know, or something like that. Reagan something. I listened to a Killer Mike song. Reaganomics something. Am I on to something? I don't know. I'm not studied up in that shit, man. I'm just saying, man. I don't know. I don't know all of the presidents, but maybe in our lifetime, I could definitely see why you would say that. You know, but what did Bill Clinton do? You know what I'm saying? What did Bill Clinton do? But people used to say, didn't people used to say George Bush was racist? I was still more of a kid, teenager back then. But didn't people? I don't know, motherfucking dog. I'm not into politics like that, man. I usually just stayed out of that shit. That shit ain't ever really affected me. I've always, you know what I'm saying? At least in my situation as a kid or growing up, I never really considered that shit. Like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I always kind of felt like my big vote like that, like I get it on the local level, your votes probably matter, but like as far as the president, I never felt like, man, if I vote for this guy, he's gonna win. You know what I'm saying? Because there's an electoral college shit. We're not gonna talk. Bro, this is MMA. I don't know about all that shit. We gotta start full time, and I don't even want to start full time politics because I don't know enough about that shit. But you get the point, man. I hear you though. Someone said, oh, I'm not even about to read that one because it's more politics. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, we got to get back into the MMA. Motherfuckers are talking about presidents smoking weed and all type of shit in the comments. Holy smokes. Yeah, man. You see, politics gets crazy, bro. Politics gets crazy. It's just like religion. Like, this is the facts. It don't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Because what happens is you don't convince people. Nobody gets convinced of one side. You know, you're already convinced. If you're a Trump guy, you don't want to hear shit that the fucking Hillary? I don't even know the opposition. Let's just say Republican and Democrats. If you're a Republican, you don't want to hear shit the Democrats got to say. And if you're a Democrat, you don't want to hear shit the Republicans got to say. Motherfuckers got their sides, and you don't really see too many motherfuckers like debating. Oh, you know what? You make a good point. Like, you make a good point. You know, it's just, fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. It's you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no fucking middle ground. Like, oh, that's a good fucking point. Like, can we just agree? Like, I don't know. So that's why it doesn't. That's why it's not good to talk about it. Because whatever you believe, like, and I'm in the middle. I don't know. I think there should be a common ground. I think people should fucking conversate and not just talk over each other. But let's just say that fucking there was a blue alien that was the president, and he was a Democrat. If you come out and say, yeah, man, fucking that red alien is a fucked up guy, you're going to turn off a whole lot of people that really like the fucking red alien. And if you say, hey, man, the fucking blue alien is even worse, then you're going to turn, you know, so it's just like, I'm the motherfucking purple alien. Fuck what y'all talking about, man. Fuck what y'all talking about. Let's get back to MMA, though. Curtis Blades, hold on, somebody's talking about a book recommendation. I like that. I like that. Hey, you should look at the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. It goes over that. Truly good book. Hey, I'm always interested in a fucking good book, for sure. For sure. I'm a full-time MMA guy and a libertarian. A libertarian. I don't even gonna sound stupid. Like, I don't necessarily know what a libertarian is. I think they're like on the side of the Democrat. I don't see. That's why I don't talk about that shit. You know what I'm saying? I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast to hear them talk about that shit, and other podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Even, you know. So I don't know. I'm just a listener. I'm a lurker when it comes to that shit. I don't comment on it because I don't like talking about shit I don't know about. Or, you know what I'm saying? I don't like just getting back and forth. Like, let's say we're talking about just one certain point, and I agree with one of them on one point. Well, it's like, okay, I agree with you on this point, but not this point. I don't know. It's just, to me, a lot of this shit's kind of stupid, honestly. That's how I feel. That's why I just fucking focus on MMA and hope one day we'll be based out of Vegas talking about MMA full time. You know, never fucking worry about this shit. I don't know, man. Someone's got to do it. So, I mean, and I know I pay attention to it, but as far as speaking on it, I just don't feel like that's my place. But with that being said, back to the MMA, which I do feel like is my place, because this is some shit I fucks with. This is some shit I pay attention to. Curtis Blades, and this is a good prediction. This isn't just anybody making this prediction. I wouldn't just pull it up if fucking, who's a heavyweight? Justin Willis, Chase Sherman. I wouldn't just pull up, another heavyweight predicting this fight as an interesting point. But this is so important, and I want to know actually who Curtis Blades picks, because he could very well be fighting the winner of Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. Curtis Blades has been looking fucking amazing on the low. As far as the names he's been able to beat in his last 3 fights, he's on like a 4-fight winning streak, 5 or 6-fight winning streak. He had a no contest that stopped it a little bit. But his last 3 opponents were Alexei Olenek, Mark Hunt, and then and then Alistair Overeem. And he did work to all of them. Looked great against all of them. Fucking legends of the heavyweight division. So with that being said, he's working his way up to a title shot at only 26-year-old. Curtis Blades is a motherfucking future heavyweight champion. I don't know if he can beat DC or Stipe Miocic this year, but in 2020, motherfucker, 2020, I'm just saying. No, but he definitely could be a future champion. As far as age, he's got that on his side. Whenever Stipe Miocic is 40, he might be, 30? I don't know how old Stipe is. I would guess somewhere around 35, just off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken. And I know Curtis Blades is like 26, 27. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be young. And whenever he's 33, you know what I'm saying? All of these dudes are going to be retired. As far as the veterans and the legends of the sport, there's only going to be a few of these. That's where he's going to be. He's going to be that veteran, that legend of the sport with wins over these legends. It's going to be like the only dudes left, like let's say 8 years from now in the heavyweight division. Curtis Blades, and who's the other dude that's in the top 5 right now? Young motherfucking beast. Alexander Volkov. He's only like 29 years old right now, too. So them dudes are going to be, in my mind, just me looking at the future of the heavyweight division, I think those dudes are going to be like 2 of the future staples of the heavyweight division. You got the skyscraper, and that's not his nickname. That's, Stefan Struve, of course. But he's a tall-ass dude himself, Alexander Volkov. I think he's like 6'9", and then the D1 wrestler, and I say D1, I don't even know if he's Division 1 or what necessary rank Curtis Blades is. I just know he's got very high-level collegiate wrestling. So both of those dudes, very talented, experienced heavyweights up and coming. But Curtis Blades, as of late, has definitely picked up wins over the bigger names, you would say, especially with that performance over Alistair Overeem. He earned his nickname in that fight. Curtis Razor Blades, them elbows over the top, had fucking Alistair Overeem shit leaking. And now he's predicting the heavyweight super fight coming up at UFC 226. This is what Curtis Blades had to say. I'm going to take Stipe. I like his kickboxing, his footwork, his conditioning. I know that DC's a good wrestler, but Stipe is a pretty good wrestler himself. I think he's got a lot more advantages. I think he gets the finish, but probably into the 4th round, maybe 5th. Damn. Curtis Blades with the motherfucking detailed and accurate prediction. And, you can tell he's definitely a student of the game. He's studying Stipe, studying DC, likes what he sees, and he's giving an accurate prediction, and a very, I think, and not an accurate prediction, but I'm saying he's giving a detailed prediction, But as far as what he's saying, though, that is pretty accurate. As far as the matchup is concerned, yeah, DC's a good wrestler, might be a better wrestler, but Stipe's still a pretty good wrestler himself. Also, his kickboxing, so Stipe might be a little more well-rounded, so with that being said, Curtis Blades continued to say they're both challenges. I don't think either one of them is easier or harder than the other, talking about his potential matchup with either Stipe or Daniel Cormier. They're both great in their own ways. They both have pretty good stand-up. They're both pretty good wrestlers. My only advantage would be I have a weight advantage over them and probably a reach advantage also. I was thinking about New Year's Eve in Vegas. I think I deserve to be the champion. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he gets that opportunity. He's made a case for it for sure with his performances over Mark Hunt and Alistair Overeem. But you know how that goes, right? If you're not the interim champion, you ain't guaranteed anything. We might be seeing, because also Alexander Volkov, he just got a win over Fabricio Verdum. He's a former UFC champion. Fabricio was on a 2-fight win streak or 3-fight win streak. He hadn't lost in a while since losing to Stipe Miocic. I mean, the Alistair Overeem fight, of course, but that was a split decision win for Fabricio. So Alexander Volkov was actually able to defeat Fabricio Verdum. So he's also up there in line for a possible title fight. So maybe those guys fight for a #1 contender fight. Who knows? Because we still have to see what happens in Miocic versus Cormier, you know. So we'll see what happens. But Curtis Blaydes feels like he's ready for the title shot, and I feel like he's a future champion, regardless if he can win it here now or if it's in 2020. I like Curtis Blaydes as far as his future in the heavyweight division. Someone said didn't know Shogun. Frank Shamrock said didn't know Shogun still fights. Yeah, man, I think he's on a 3-fight winning streak, right? If I'm not mistaken, he's about to be fighting in the main event of UFC Hamburg against Volkan Ozdemir. Let's see. We're looking for light heavyweight. Volkan Ozdemir is fighting, yeah, Mauricio Rua. Let's see, is Shogun on a 3-fight winning streak right now? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, he's on a 3-fight winning streak since losing to OSP. He beat John Vellante, Corey Anderson, and Rodrigo Nogueira. So, 2015, 2016, 2017. Only been fighting once a year, but he's on a 3-fight winning streak, low-key. But he's got his hands full against Volkan Ozdemir. Holy smokes, does he have his hands full. Shogun going to be taking on Volkan Ozdemir for his possible only fight of 2018. I mean, seems like he's been, you know, fighting once a year. Get in there and get a fight, you know, and be out of there. But Volkan Ozdemir's coming off that loss to Daniel Cormier, but he's 15-2, and his nickname is No Time because he knocks dudes the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like Craig on Friday. And before he fought Daniel Cormier, he was on a vicious first-round knockout spree. 2-fight first-round knockout spree over Misha Serkinov and Jimmy Manuwa. Jimmy Manuwa, who's a very talented striker himself. So Shogun Rua has his hands full in the main event of UFC Hamburg. That's a fact. But yeah, he's still fighting, and he's on a 3-fight winning streak. But yeah, let's see what we got up next. That was the Curtis Blaydes. This is Will Brooks talking about this PFL tournament tomorrow. Yo, I gotta set my alarm because I missed Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series fucking last night. For some reason, it's spaced. I might have been live streaming. I was doing something else at the time. Oh, I think that, oh yeah, my water got turned back on and shit and craziness. So I completely spaced and forgot about Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series yesterday. So I was like, oh fuck, I started seeing the results. I was like, man, I got so much shit to do. I don't even think I'm gonna go back and watch last week's episode unless it was the one with Valentina Shevchenko's sister Antonia or Nick Newell. But I mean, if it's not one of the bigger names, I missed the episode. You know what I'm saying? So but tomorrow I gotta set an alarm because I gotta make sure I'm aware for PFL 2. I want to see this. I want to see how Will Brooks does. I mean, he didn't look great in the UFC. Has bad shape. Now he's signed with the PFL and he's in that lightweight tournament, that $1 million lightweight tournament. And he says that he's the original Will Brooks is back. He was the Bellator champion. If you didn't know about that, Will Brooks was the Bellator champion, and he actually became a free agent as the Bellator champion, lightweight champion. He beat Michael Chandler. I believe he might have beat him twice, if I'm not mistaken, if not maybe once. But either way, he beat Michael Chandler. He was Bellator lightweight champion, became free agent, and signed with the UFC as the Bellator champion. When he went to the UFC, he went on like a 3-fight losing streak, and now he's with the PFL. So it didn't really pay off going to the UFC, and he was the Bellator champion, which was interesting, but still. Now he's with the PFL, and he feels like he's back to the original Will Brooks. I'm assuming he's talking about the Bellator Will Brooks, because that's when he was the champion and beating fighters like Michael Chandler. But he said, training camp has been incredible, man. I know a lot of guys say this after they come off of losses. They're just like, man, this is the best I've ever felt. But I'm about to be one of those guys, you know. I'm genuinely feel like I'm back to the original Will Brooks that came into this sport. My passion, my dedication, my drive, my motivation is there. I think for a while there I was searching for it. I was trying to manufacture it and create it and just say that, yo, I'm motivated, I'm focused, and it wasn't the honest truth. I just feel like I finally turned that corner. I'm genuinely motivated and geared up to go. My coaches are geared up, and I feel the energy. I want to get to the damn fight card. But he said my coaches are geared up to go. They feel the energy. I feel their energy. This sounds like some Super Saiyan pass me your energy spirit ball shit right here, bro. Like my coaches, I'm fucking back to and that's really one of the more important parts of this sport is the relationship between coach and fighter. We're all just geared up to be ready to go, man. And I'm really excited to be back to winning. Okay, that's dope. I'm rooting for Will Brooks to get back on the winning track because his stint in the UFC didn't go great. But I'm like, who is his opponent? That's what I'm over here thinking while I'm reading his statement. I'm like, who is his opponent about to be? Who is he even fighting? While he's talking about his old Will Brooks. Let's pull this up. PFL 2 fight card. We got Kayla Harrison versus Brittany Elkin. 20 motherfucking 20. Motherfucking 2020. But I think Will Brooks is actually the main event. Well, they ain't even got his fight up here. Oh, there it is. The poster I saw, I think Will Brooks versus Luis Firmino is the main event. I don't really know much about Luis Firmino. I should have did some predictions for this card, yo. Now it's too late. I would have definitely did predictions for this card. You even got Ramsey Nicham on this joint. You got some Efrain Escudero. I've seen a lot of these names. Jason High, Brandon Halsey. A lot of these motherfuckers fought in the UFC. Sean O'Connell. Damn. Oh, this is the league that got Chris Wade and all them dudes. Yo, the PFL ain't fucking around. They got some fights. Yo. Oh, Chris Wade is on this fucking card. Are you kidding me? I'm in. Vinny Magdalena, Thiago Tavares, Kayla Harrison. Let's motherfucking go. I'm just saying, this PFL card is fucking stacked. I didn't expect that, but hell yeah, I'm all over this PFL card. I guess we might as well. We've done turned it into this live stream format. Maybe that's what we should do. I don't know, man. The last live, well, have I tried it since? We haven't tried it with the new format. We'll try it with this format, but yeah, maybe we'll try that. I don't know if I should just do the normal evening show and then do the results like I used to do, or like we should do like a PFL fight companion. I think that's the play. I think we're doing a fight companion for this PFL because I'm hyped for this fucking card, low-key. Probably more hyped than I should be. But hey, man, it is what it is. We got Ronda Rousey 2.0 in the building. Chris Wade. And if you don't know who Chris Wade is, he's a dude that was like 5-2 in the UFC. I think maybe he was even better than that in the UFC. Let me see if I can pull up his UFC record. But he was on a winning streak, and I remember he went on the MMA Hour and kind of voiced his displeasure with the UFC. Like, yo, I'm on a winning streak. I'm trying to get an opponent. What's up? And now he's over here with the PFL. He's a very talented wrestler. You know, he's a guy that, you know, as far as lightweights are concerned, if you're a striker, like, this dude's got some wrestling, you know, so he's always going to have that in his back pocket. If he's well-rounded, that's one thing, but he's a strong wrestler, and with that base, he could have went far. You know, a lot of wrestlers, if you can, you know, be well-rounded, but he had some wins in the UFC to lead me to believe he could have shook up the lightweight division. As far as I was interested to see how he would have looked against those guys, but he seemed like he was having a hard time getting a fight. And now he's with the PFL. So let's pull up his record, because I think he was 5-2 in the UFC. Chris Wade. I think he was 5-2 in the UFC. He might have been for some reason. I'm thinking, yeah. That was 5-2. 1, 2, 3. He was on a 4-fight winning streak, and then he got. See, this is. I'm not even gonna do that. I was gonna like say, man, I wonder if he pissed somebody off. You know what I'm saying? Because he went from being, or maybe, and that's I'm not gonna speculate, but look, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4-fight winning streak, and he got through to 2 motherfucking Russian wrestlers in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like Rustam Khabilov and Islam Makhachev, they both beat him. Both of them very strong lightweight grapplers as well. But he got through to 2 of them in a row. Like, hey, motherfucker, you think you can wrestle? One of these, let's let one of these Dagestan gangsters dump you on your dome. You know what I'm saying? But then he came back and got the win over Frankie Perez before transitioning to the PFL. Why does it say his next opponent is Nathan Schulte right here? I wonder if he got an opponent change. Maybe that one guy, Luis Firmino, pulled out of the fight. That's what it looks like, because right here they say Chris Wade's fighting. Oh, yeah, no, Chris Firmino, he's fighting Will Brooks. Okay, that's what's going on. So, yeah, man, I'm interested to see how he does over here in the PFL. And as far as that lightweight tournament, he's got potential for sure. And, you know, so does Will Brooks. Shoot, they could potentially see each other later in the lightweight tournament fucking around. I wonder if they're doing like a bracket. You know, I wonder if they got like a PFL bracket. Oh, I'm just going to Google that shit real quick. PFL lightweight bracket. PFL roster revealed 6 of these 72 fighters will be millionaires. Holy shit, 6 of these motherfuckers? 6 of these fighters have the opportunity. If I'm in the UFC, if I'm a UFC ranked fighter and I hear that I can go fight in the PFL, and if I win these fights, I'm a millionaire. Yo, you motherfuckers are lucky I already started the tournament. I might have been having to do that Will Brooks, Chris Wade, they might have fucking, if they end up becoming millionaires from this tournament, that's a good career move. I mean, if you're not a champion, it's gonna. I don't know how many non-champions are millionaires in the UFC. I'm sure Donald Cerrone's made it. You know, some of the bigger names, but you know, Paige Van Zandt, even someone like that. But there's probably not a lot of fighters that can say that they're millionaires. You know, or even that they're gonna be sometime soon. And it looks like, from this headline, of course, 6 of these 72 fighters will be millionaires by the year's end. I wonder if there's just like a straight list. Here's the list. Oh no, that's the events. And tomorrow's PFL 2. There's playoffs. Oh shit, 2018 playoffs pay structure. Oh, I wonder what they're. Ooh man, this is interesting. I wonder what they're fighting for now though. If these are your prizes for the payoffs, like I wonder what your actual your purse to fight right now is. Like, yo, we all we got right now is some body armor. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got much right now, but you're fighting for the ultimate goal. Don't worry about what you're fighting right now. Right now you're fighting for your spot in the tournament. I don't know how, you know what I'm saying? Because if they're paying 6 people $1 million. The runners up, all 200. That seems like a lot of money, you know, to be paying to these PFL fighters in this lightweight tournament. It seems like no matter who you are, you might be cashing out here. If you make it to the top, just the quarterfinal losers get 50,000. So that my thoughts are, I like the prizes for that. Sounds amazing. It's going to be amazing for these fighters. But I wonder if that, you know, what that does like for their fights now. Like we see. Chris Wade is about to be fighting that, I forget his name, we just looked at it, but Will Brooks is going to be fighting Luis Firmino. So I wonder what Will Brooks makes to fight Luis Firmino. You know what I'm saying? I would assume it's less because you're in a tournament right now. You're in the damn prelims. You're trying to get to the money. You're trying to get to the money in the tournament. So for right now, you know, I wonder what it's like when you're not in the money yet if you play poker, you know what I'm saying? But, interesting. I'm definitely interested. I was wondering if there was a bracket. That would even have made it better. Like a 72-man bracket. No one's going to predict those, but I think that's more than March Madness. March Madness is what, 64 to start off, 32 on each side. So I wonder, but that's dope. I like the Bellator, how they actually have that bracket. I think that's dope. But 72 fighters, I don't even know if you can split that into a bracket. But that would have been crazy. Like, you win this fight, you go on to that to fight that guy. But it's going to work out differently. It's going to be interesting. I'm gonna try to tune into all the PFL events. Definitely gonna be watching the ones Kayla Harrison's on though, for sure. I gotta, I want to be one of those fans that was able to say I watched her from the beginning. I was on the bandwagon from the beginning. I watched her first pro fight and shit like that. I'm gonna be one of those guys whenever she. 2020. I'm just saying, Kayla Harrison for Cyborg. 2020. That's all I'm saying. Man, I don't even know if that's the year, but that's what I'm planning on. Antonio Shevchenko slated to face Jamie Lynn Niviera in the Contender Series fight. I believe her opponent changed. She originally had a different opponent. It says, yeah, she has a new dance partner for her appearance on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. I don't think, who was her original opponent? Come on. After losing her originally scheduled opponent, Silvana Gomez Juarez, I don't think anybody was watching that fight. Man, I know Valentina's sister's fighting and all, but I'm really watching this fight for Silvana, though. Maybe I'm just saying, I'm interested in this whole event on this day. Whatever episode of Dana White's Contender Series this is, I want to see it because I want to see Antonia Shevchenko. I really want to see how she does. In Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, normally you have to have a spectacular performance to get your contract. So she's likely. Greg Hardy had to get a damn 58-second knockout. The other guy that night had to get an 8-second knockout. So you have to have a spectacular performance, better than the other fighters on the card, to get the contract. So I'm interested to see, is she going to have to go in there and get a finish? She's going to have to perform to get the contract. Or I wonder, if she just won a decision. Would she get the contract still? Or would she not even make it to the UFC? Because I would like to see her fight in the UFC and shit like that. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how she does in this fight. And if she can get the contract. Because naturally, especially in the strawweight division, in WMA, there's a lot more decisions, than the respective male divisions. So if Antonio Shevchenko fights to a decision here, if she did, I wonder if she would get the contract or what would happen. So that's even adds more to why I want to watch it. But regardless, she's got a new opponent, if you were wondering. And it's going to be Jamie Lynn Rivera, June 26th. That's next Tuesday, right? Because, yeah, it's June 20th right now, I believe. So, yeah, next Tuesday we're going to be seeing Antonio Shevchenko's MMA debut. And I'll be tuning in for sure. I got to set my alarms so I don't forget in the midst of it. Hopefully nothing else is going on, you know what I'm saying? So this one I think we kind of touched on, but it's Khabib Nurmagomedov saying he's going to destroy Conor McGregor. Really just more signs pointing toward this potential Khabib versus Conor McGregor super fight. We've now seen Khabib's crew motherfucking on bike detail on behind Conor McGregor putting the motherfucking duck emoji, you know. That shit's still funny to me. Like, man, he's right on their tail, but it's like he's just in the back, like, popping off Instagram filters and shit. Like, I wonder if Conor McGregor turned around and gave him the big eyes or something. Like, what do you do? You just back here to fucking get good Instagram snaps, my dude? You know what I'm saying? But he was real close. And still, though, just all of that, jokes aside, this is a fight that needs to happen, and signs been pointing toward it. Conor McGregor's, seems like he's going toward that plea deal, maybe a little bit of community service and a fine to avoid jail time. And Khabib Nurmagomedov's father has, I believe, spoke with Russian media and said that he believes that's what signs are pointing toward too. So there's been a lot of rumblings. Conor McGregor's coach today came out and said he thinks that it's signs are starting to point toward Khabib. So, I mean, Khabib saying, I'm going to destroy him. And I think we did read this because I remember what he said. He said, I can't predict when I'm going to knock him out, how I'm going to beat him, but I can tell you, I'm going to destroy Conor McGregor. So, that being said, man, we'll see what the full-time family's talking about before we get out of here. That's all the news topics I actually have for today. Oh, I got this video. I wanted to play this like yesterday, but it doesn't look like a topic because it's on YouTube. My motherfucking dog, though, I can't even play it because it's on TMZ. Oh, I can play it without the video to where you guys can't see the video, probably.
What's up, man? What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, it's a lot of background noise and shit, too. I would need my headphones and shit. But pretty much it's Sean O'Malley saying that Wiz Khalifa has no chance in MMA, and it's TMZ. I don't even want to chance it. Fuck around and get my shit taken down. But either way, he was at that E3 event. There was a lot of fighters there. Sean O'Malley actually picked up a W. I mean, I'm assuming everyone knows what Fortnite is, but I know there's some people that don't. But he picked up a W, and it's the biggest game in the world. Even Steve Miocic, even UFC fighters that aren't known for gaming, like Demetrius Johnson, they're even trying to clout chase off of Fortnite. You got Tyron Woodley talking about Fortnite games, and Steve Miocic talking about his Fortnite partner and shit like that. That's how big the game is right now. And so with that being said, Sean O'Malley, he's really into the game as well. And he was at that little pro event over this weekend. It was a really big event, I believe, at E3 or something like that. And Sean O'Malley was on a pro player's team. It was like a celebrity portion of the tournament. And so, like, it was one pro player, like Dancing with the Stars, but like gaming with the pros. So you had Sean O'Malley and a pro, and they actually beat the most popular, like, biggest Fortnite streamer out there, the dude Ninja. I'm sure a lot of you even know who that is. Even though we're talking about a game here, a lot of people know, fucking at least what Fortnite is. And if you do, Ninja, he's like the most famous Fortnite player. You know what I'm saying? Fortnite pro. So Sean O'Malley actually played in that event and won the fucking thing. But what was fucked up was it was the practice round. But if they would have won that, they would have won, like, I don't know how much, but a lot of money for a fucking charity. But while he was there, TMZ caught up with him, and he spoke on fellow stoner Wiz Khalifa. And Sean O'Malley just kept it real. And afterward I was like, oh, damn. I kind of wish Sean O'Malley wouldn't have did that. Like, if I was his business manager, I would have probably told him not to speak out against Wiz Khalifa, even if it... And it's not like, oh, fucking for a reason of being scared, nothing like that. It's like Wiz Khalifa is actually... not even just because he's good friends with Snoop Dogg, but he's actually getting into the MMA world. He's training MMA. I don't know. He's not doing any commentary. He's not. Maybe he might fight a celebrity MMA match. I don't know what his fucking end game is. But Wiz Khalifa is a very popular rapper that is starting to embrace the MMA culture. And I think we should welcome people like that. Like, yeah, you don't want to see him doing commentary and being disrespectful maybe, like the Snoop cast. But at the same time, you do want to see, I do personally, I want to see some of those people become fans of the sport, you know, like from the hip-hop world. You know, that's probably why Tyron Woodley and Demetrius Johnson aren't necessarily that big of draws, because a lot of, you know, people that watch the NFL, like my brother, people like that, like they watch the NFL and the NBA a lot more, but they're not really as into MMA. You know, and I don't know if I don't just want to put it on like the black community. I don't like know how to properly talk about it, but like the black, you know, like just that the hip hop audience, not even just black. You know what I'm saying? That hip hop audience, the Wiz Khalifas and stuff like that, the people that would buy Tyron Woodley's pay-per-views if they weren't streaming them, like me. No, I'm just playing. Only when I can't afford them. But still, on top of that, Wiz Khalifa has connections with Snoop Dogg, who's supports Sean O'Malley. Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg are kind of like this, you know what I'm saying? Like really good friends. They did movies together, the stoners of the hip-hop world. And then also the weed thing. Wiz Khalifa is not just the rapper. He's big into the whole weed. He's got his own weed. He's had his own weed. Wiz Khalifa's weed strain is probably bigger than any other person who has a personal weed strain. He's got, if you know what raw rolling papers are, the whole raw brand is essentially Wiz Khalifa's brand. That whole fucking thing. He's big in the weed industry and the rap game and tied in with Snoop Dogg. So Sean O'Malley kind of critiquing him, it's like, it's cool, you know, it probably won't mean nothing, but at the same time, if you were someone's business manager, you know how people have like teams behind them and shit like that, like advising them, hey man, like if you do this you could make more money, you know, that's probably something I wouldn't have done, you know, after I heard him saying Wiz Khalifa had zero chance, because I think Wiz Khalifa and Sean O'Malley, they could have collaborated on something. I don't know, smoked some weed together, made a viral video. Sean O'Malley, the pothead MMA fighter, Wiz Khalifa, the pothead rapper getting into MMA. That could have been like a future collaboration, you know? But maybe if Wiz Khalifa hears you saying he has absolutely no chance, zero chance, you know, being like emphatic about it, he might, you know how some famous people probably are, like take offense to that shit and not want to work with you. So just as a business decision, I think Sean O'Malley could have made some potential future money with Wiz Khalifa, and however it be, whether it's weed, MMA, rap, that they, you know, they combine. But in this video, he goes on to say like, and he's pretty like at the end, he's like, yeah, no, absolutely no chance, zero chance, because they asked him like, so what do you think about MMA or Wiz Khalifa? He's been training MMA lately, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, like no chance. But Sean O'Malley, as a fighter, you would understand. Like I saw Sean O'Malley's tweet whenever CM Punk was fighting at UFC 225, and he was saying, I hope both of these guys lose. Because to a fighter that puts the hard blood, sweat, and tear into the sport, you don't want to see fucking guys that don't deserve that spot taking Alistair Overeem's pay-per-view slot because it's a business. Because you're like, I'm a fighter. I want to see people who deserve the opportunity. You feel like that, get that opportunity. So they don't like when people entertain the idea of CM Punk fighting. Like, hey, what do you think about CM Punk in the UFC? What do you think about Wiz Khalifa in the UFC? What do you think about Logan Paul in the UFC? How about Logan Paul versus KSI in a fucking UFC match? Like, you know, that pisses fighters off sometimes. But just Wiz Khalifa specifically, I feel like that's somebody that Sean O'Malley could have collaborated with in the future, and he still could. Hell, maybe Wiz Khalifa watches this shit and it's like he understands it. Like, hey, fuck it. You know, I probably can't. I don't got a chance in the UFC. But Bellator? What the fuck you talking about? What the fuck you talking about? In Bellator? If you don't think Wiz Khalifa can get a win in Bellator, you're completely fucking wrong. 50 now. Can 50 Cent beat up Rampage? No. But there's somebody out there in the world. There's somebody out there that can't fuck with 50. That's all I'm saying. There's somebody. Bellator signed him for a one-off. Boom. My first pro fight. It's 50's first pro fight. It makes sense. Both of our first pro fights. Give him somebody that lost all three of their amateur fights. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about becoming an MMA fighter, but I lost all three of my amateurs, so I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm going to fucking drive a truck, you know, or something like that. Give him that guy. Hey, you want to fight 50? Boom. You're both 0-0, but at least that guy had some amateur fights. 50 golden gloves. Boom. I'm just saying there's somebody out there Wiz can beat. Now, in the UFC, it's a different story. Unless you're talking about a shit show. I was about to say, well, I don't know. Fucking Wiz Khalifa versus Mike Jackson. Let's get it. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying. So as a fan of Sean O'Malley, some of you guys know I rock with him. I was just like at the end because he was kind of like he leading up like it's a 2-minute fucking interview. The first minute and a half was crystal clear. Like, oh yeah, you know, didn't say anything. Then when he was like, oh yeah, no, Wiz Khalifa, he wouldn't have a chance. And it was like, oh really? Like okay. And he was like, yeah, no, like 0 chance, like absolutely 0. Like you know, he made a statement. I was like, okay, all right. See, and look, so the first comments, what if he fought CM Punk? Yoza L said, I want to see 50 slap, bruh. Let's go, champ said, bad luck, Peel. Wiz seems to have a bad chance in MMA bouts. His training looks good so far. Yeah, and you know, his training does look solid, but I hear what Sean O'Malley's saying. As far as in the UFC, Wiz Khalifa ain't even coming over from the WWE. You know what I'm saying? He's got less of a chance than CM Punk in the UFC. That's being realistic. At least CM Punk came over to the sport with the work ethic and the athleticism of a WWE fighter. I mean, and I'm sure Wiz Khalifa has a great work ethic. You know, whenever he's touring, he's got to do shit to, you know, keep his business rolling. I'm sure he's got a great work ethic to be where he's at. But his lifestyle hasn't been getting punched in the face even for fake, getting slammed around even for fake. So the UFC, to me, I feel like he's got even less of a chance like than a CM Punk as far as that's concerned, if you're being realistic, in the UFC. But like I said, in Bellator, oh, there's somebody out there he can beat up. I just don't know about a UFC guy. But yeah, man. How about John Gotti III said, given sure name? He looked good in the last fight I watched, and you know, it's hilarious. I only seen his second pro fight. I might have watched his first one. I don't know if he won his first one by knockout, but the second fight he won with the first round knockout. I watched that fight, and he looked good in the fight, but the comment section was cracking me up because like every other comment, somebody said, yeah, you know, like even if it wasn't a conspiracy, you know, you don't even have to be a conspiracy theory. Not even conspiracy theorists were talking about this fight is fixed just because this dude's name is John Gotti. Like literally, it doesn't matter who you are. If you hear John Gotti's fighting pro, people are gonna say the fix is in. So like, and make the jokes. If you either win this fight or lose your life. Like if you win this, but like those jokes just stormed in. But as far as his potential, he looked like a solid MMA fighter. He seemed like a dude if he connected, and especially if he's taking it serious. If he's been training and if he connects, he's gonna knock a dude out, which is what he did. And on top of that, in the beginning of your career, you're kind of supposed to fight guys that aren't on your level, especially if you're a fighter that's already got a big name. You know what I'm saying? Like Bellator, perfect example. That dude from the Jersey Shore of the UK, I think it's called the Geordie Shore. What is his name? I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember his name off the top of my head. Aaron Chalmers. That guy, he came over. He was able to get a win in Bellator, but what did they do? They put him up against a guy that was like, had a losing record. You know what I'm saying? He might have been like 2-3 or something like that. So he can get a win, or he can, especially if you're a guy with a name. So they put you know, they're not gonna fucking throw John Gotti at Zach Freeman, someone that's 8-2. That, you know what I'm saying? Like Aaron Pico got thrown to the wolves kinda because he actually was coming up, wrestling, Golden Gloves, all of this shit. But if you're somebody that's not on an Aaron Pico level, you're probably going to fight someone more on your level of competition. But I'm watching his fights, I'll tell you that much. Yoza L said CM Punk worked. He's just the dude at baseball who looks nice with all the gear but straight sucks. Hell yeah. But yeah, man, with that being said, that's definitely the last topic of the day. This whole Wiz Khalifa thing. That I meant to cover that the other day, but I didn't realize what it was because it was a YouTube video, so I didn't think it was more news. So with that being said, thank y'all for coming through tonight to Full-Time MMA in the evening. You know we'll be back tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's 6 p.m. to me, but Eastern time is the most popular, so I use that. So I have to translate that shit. So we start at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then we roll until we run out of topics. So yeah, man, thanks for coming through to motherfucking Mr. Perfect Yoza L, given sure name. Pablo Cruz in here. I'm him 247. Bad luck Peel. I know my dog MMA from the Heartland was in here earlier. Cam Murphy, Stamina, MC, Guitar Babe was in here earlier. I'm just saying, we've got middle brother in here. What's going on? So with that being said, thank y'all for coming through. We'll have more to talk about tomorrow. Let the Full-Time family know what you guys think in the comments. I'm out.